What's up, YouTube? All right, so today is going to be a review of the first week of block one of my powerlifting training. Now, it is a little bit of a hybrid between bodybuilding, powerlifting, power building, if you will. Um, what I've got detailed here is just the days that I do competition lifts. We'll get into the bodybuilding days later into the video, but just to start out, stats for this week. Got a new low of 186.9 pounds on the scale. Squat, bench, and deads, still the same. We're not trying to hit any PRs this week. Probably not going to be trying to hit any PRs for a couple weeks. Start off with day one, upper. So one thing that you'll notice with my training is there's a lot of these parentheses. What they're indicating is a superset. What I generally try to do with supersets is it's not like the typical bodybuilding superset. I'm not doing one type of curl here and then supersetting it with some variation of a curl here. What I like to do is what I call antagonistic supersets. So if I'm doing chest training with one exercise, then I'm going to do something that hits the back on the exercise that I'm supersetting with. And the idea behind this is I like to keep my training times pretty efficient, within an hour, hour and a half at the most. And to cut down on rest times, I'll do, say, bench press and weighted pull-ups. While I'm doing bench press, working the chest, triceps, a little bit of the anterior shoulder, pull-ups, it's going to be reverse of that. I mean, the biceps, the back, rear delts. And so while I'm doing pull-ups, my chest muscle or bench muscles are having time to rest. And then conversely, when I'm doing bench, pull-up muscles have time to rest. This also keeps the intensity pretty high. Cardio really gets tested doing stuff like this. Like I said, I've got a total of 2, 4, 6, 8 exercises. So 7 exercises done within about an hour's time. Starting off, we got bench press. Did 255 for a top single. I give it somewhere in an RPE of 8. If you don't know what RPE means, it's rate of perceived exertion. I wouldn't use it if your goals are bodybuilding oriented. It's more of a powerlifting tool. All it means is like how hard you push yourself. If you were to give something an RPE of 10, that is everything you had in you. There was nothing else you could put out on the table. RPE 6 is like, you could probably do this any old day. You could come in getting over sickness and probably hit this number as long as you weren't too far out of training. So I use RPE when it comes to the competition lifts, bench, squats, and deadlifts. Everything else, I like to use what's called RIR, which is reps in reserve. Typically, it's just a measure of how close to failure you're training. Say you do a set of 8 on pull-ups, and you can get 12 pull-ups if you were just to go all the way in. Well, that would be 4 IRR. That just being that you're 4 reps away from failure. So, like I said, bench 255 for a single at RPE 1. And then I did back down sets of 205 for 4 sets of 4. I have it wrote on here as 5 sets of 4 for some reason. Ignore that. It's 4 sets of 4. I paired those with weighted pull-ups. So I did 45 pounds for 4 sets of 6 to 8. The top set, I've got 8 reps. And then after that, the subsequent sets, getting past 6 would have started really killing my form. And so I just stopped them at 6. Going down to the next exercise, we got barbell rows paired with incline dumbbell press. Barbell rows, I generally try to go pretty heavy on these. They are a good mass builder, but I'm also looking for just that upper back strength with them. So 225 for 3 sets of 6. I don't really categorize these as an RPE based exercise, but that being said, I am much stronger than 225 for 3 sets of 6, but I'm trying to work my way back into it. I'm going to start light at the beginning of the block, slowly increase weight throughout the block, so that way I'm not going all in on week 1 and absolutely destroying myself to where I can't make progress from here on out. Incline dumbbell press, doing the 70s for 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. I think that first set I got 12 reps, and then from there it went down to 11 and then 10. I generally go pretty slow with these, come really far down, get a deep stretch in the chest. These are more of a bodybuilding movement in my opinion. We'll move on to lateral raises, did 20 pounds for 4 sets of 15. These, I don't foam these in, as I would call it, like most others do. You see a lot of people like really jumping around with their lateral raises, and I want to keep as much tension on the lateral delt as I can. And so I'm really strict with going up, nice and controlled, a slight pause at the top, and then really trying to milk it on the way down. Move on to the arm exercises. We got dumbbell curls and cable extensions. Most people you'll see doing cable extensions, they're going to do a straight bar or maybe ropes or something. I don't generally like that. I'll do straight bar extensions from time to time, but for the most part, I go with single arm extensions. I just grab the head of the pulley, keep my arm locked at my side, and I'm just working the tricep. So for curls, I did 40 pounds for 4 sets of 10. Again, really controlled movement, not trying to use a lot of body English. Cable extensions, 50 pounds for 4 sets of 12. Total length of that workout was about 1 hour and 2 minutes. I do log all this on my phone, and so I have pretty accurate notes on everything that I do. Moving on to day 2. So we got squats starting out. Remember I said I was going to start hammering in these squats. Used to be before that deadlifts were on day 2 lower and squats were on day 4, being that my deadlift is significantly stronger than my squat. We're going to swap that. Also adding in another squat day, which we'll see in a second. So starting out squats, we got 325 for a single at 6 RPE. Then we're doing back downs of 275 for 3x4. Again, or actually it was 4x4. Again, I don't know why I put 5 here. It doesn't seem like I did it all the way across the board, but at least for those two. So that's wrong. It's 275 for 4x4. And then I like to pair most of my leg movements with an ab movement. I wouldn't generally say they're antagonistic. You use a lot of ab muscles in deadlifts and squats, but I don't get so much fatigue from my ab exercises that it's hindering my compound lifting. And so squats paired with dragon flags. If you don't know what dragon flags are, I have a clip here playing of what they are. What I'm looking for is the concentric of the movement. I'm not super hounding on. What I like to do and what has really made my abs grow the most is really milking that lowering phase. I mean, I'm talking 4 or 5 seconds on the way down, just really trying to control my core throughout. Super intense exercise. There's been some days where I was so sore that even sitting in the truck and riding to work was brutal. But as you do them, the more you get used to them, the better that gets. It's not near as bad. Okay, so moving on, we've got Bulgarian split squats, everybody's favorite. And then B stance RDLs. If you don't know what a B stance is, it's just kind of a staggered stance for it. Some people like to do single leg RDLs where they don't touch the ground at all with their other leg. And I like doing them that way too, but there's a lot of a balancing component to it, which I'm not really a fan of. So B stance just allows you to kind of put a little support with your non-working leg. So that way you're not worried about falling one way or the other. So Bulgarian split squats, B stance RDLs. I did superset these, doing the bar just for both of them, really trying to milk the eccentric, be nice and controlled. They're more of a bodybuilding / health movement. 45 pounds for 3 sets of 6. That number will go up over the weeks. Like I said, this is just beginning of a new block, so I'm not trying to go all in day one. That is the way to set yourself up for failure, burnout, slow and steady. Moving on, we got standing calf raise. I did 45 pounds for 4 sets till failure. What that really means is later here, I have what's called myo reps. If you don't know what a myo rep is, it's essentially res pulse style training. A good example of it being with this calf raise here. I started with 45 pounds on me, and the first set I did 30 reps. That was an all-in set, all the way to failure. What you do after that is you rest for about 30 seconds, and then you go back to it. And each subsequent set is probably going to be shorter than the first one, but your goal number is going to be to target that first set. So if I did 30 set or reps here, set 2, I may have got 16. You take 5-second breaks in between those. So start at 16, 5 seconds rest, maybe get another 10, another 5 seconds rest. You get those last 4. All 3 of those added up to 30 reps. Now you get another 30-second rest. Do it again. So I try to go 4 sets to accumulate that 30 reps. Really ends up being a lot more than 4 sets if you like program it out. Each 5-second rest you took, that's a different set. Either way, it's a lot of volume, a lot of metabolic fatigue, good quality reps. I've honestly seen a lot of calf growth from this, and that's something I've struggled with for years. Always had kind of small calves, but these are making a change on it. Moving on, we got flat leg raises. These are just lying on the bench. I usually like to lie towards the end of the bench so that way my hips hang off of it and I can really drop my legs down below the midline of my body. Doing 3 sets of 12 reps. Like I said, just trying to be nice and controlled. Generally trying to squeeze my glutes, my quads, and then point my toes out so that way I'm really lengthening that movement arm. Really good lower ab exercise. A lot of people will look at it and frown on it, think it's not manly enough or it's not hard enough. If you do these right, they are plenty hard. Duration on that lift was 1 hour and 12 minutes, so a little bit slower. I'll say on lower days, my cardio gets tested a little bit more because you're handling more weight generally. A lot more stuff going on. Moving on to day 4, so we're going to skip day 3, which is my other upper day. It's a little more hypertrophy based. We'll move on to day 4 lower, and this is where I hit deadlifts. Starting out, we did 465 for a single at RPE 6, and then moved on to 405 for a 3x3 for my back offsets. I paired these with a cable crunch, 90 pounds for a 4x10. What I'm thinking of with a cable crunch is essentially trying to turn my spine into a C. I'm trying to get my chest to point towards my knees as much as possible. And then when I come up, the opposite of it. I want to start curving back the other way with my spine, really stretching those abs. Moving on, we've got pause squats at 245 for a 4x3. The big thing I'm focusing on with these is, I've mentioned before that my squat usually fails out of the hole. That first 2 or 3 inches where I'm getting up out of the hole is generally the toughest for me. And so pause squats, reinforcing that position, making sure that I hold my position tight, everything's staying nice and grooved in. Holding the bottom for 3 seconds. So go down to the bottom, 3-second hold there, then back up. So 4 sets 3 without, and I paired those with hanging knee raises. 4 sets 8 on it, really just trying to bring my knees all the way up to my sternum, lower down as slow as I can. Want to see a lot of hip movement there. If your legs are just moving at the hip like that, you get a little bit of ab work doing that, but really what you want to do is try to bring your pelvis forward. You're trying to bring your hips forward up to your knee or your chest. That way you know that you're working the abs. You do have hip flexors that can help bring the legs up. You want to work your abs. So try to curve your butt under. Moving on from those, we got sissy squats. If you don't know what sissy squats are, it's up. They're not called sissy squats because they're for sissies. They're called sissy squats because they'll make you a sissy. I did 3 sets of 8 on those. Really just trying to get as deep as I can with them. Slow and controlled. Trying to stay rigid throughout my upper body, my glutes. The only thing that I wanted to move out was my ankles and my knees. These are pretty intense. Generally, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody that has poor knee health. But if you have good knee health, this is a good way to reinforce keeping it that way. These are unbelievable. I mean, they are leg extensions on steroids, essentially. The best way I would think to progress them is slowly getting more rigid with your upper body and then going slower on the eccentric, pausing in the bottom of them, and then eventually start looking into adding weight. I don't use any weight on them, and they absolutely cook my quads. Moving on from there, we got single leg calf raises this time around. Still, 45 pounds, and I did 4 myo rep sets up till 12 reps. So that first one was 12, and then I think I got like 8 on the next one. So I paired it up with a 4, got another 12, so on and so forth, all the way up till it was like 4 complete sets of 12. Duration on this one is 1 hour and 13 minutes. Just to go over briefly, I don't know that I'll write it all down here. The upper day for day 3, start off with incline press, incline barbell. We did, I think, a top set of 190, doing 4 sets of 6. So I did 190 for the first one, and then 185 for the next 3 sets. I pair those with what I call a row with reach. Some people call it a flexion row. I've got that showing right here. What I'm really trying to do with these is really stretch the upper back musculature, but also stretch my erectors. They don't get a lot of direct flexion work. You're doing deadlifts and stuff like that, and they do work them to an extent, but a lot of the whole point of the deadlift is to keep your back straight. So if you have a strong back, more than likely you're not getting a lot of flexion work. So I like to do these on flexion rows. Can't really use as much weight. There's lower risk of injury, and really just go down as deep as comfortable. You don't want to be overstretching and actually hurt yourself. I generally try to stretch all the way over, really let my arms come out. Super great exercise for your back. After the flexion rows and the incline press, I go into weighted dips and weighted chin-ups. With those, I did 45 pounds on both of them. The dips were 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. I got like 10, 9, 8 reps respectively. Really just trying to go most of the way to failure, really push hypertrophy, get a little bit of strength in the compound lifts as far as like body weight goes. With the weighted chin-ups, I did 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. On that first one, I got 8 reps. Started pyramiding down as my form got a little bit, or as my strength got a little bit lower. Really trying to focus on making sure the form is tight throughout. I don't want to compromise my form to get another rep. If I can't do it strict, then I can't do it. Going on from the compound lifts, we go into lateral raises. With these, I did a little bit lighter weight than earlier in the week, but I did more reps. Did about 15 pounds for 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps. If I remember correctly, it was 20 reps. Don't have my log sheet right in front of me. Again, really trying to control these movements. I want as much tension on the lateral delt as possible. Really gotta make those shoulders pop. Going from there, we have heavy dumbbell curls and heavy tricep extensions. Again, single arm, just grabbing the pulley attachment itself and trying to do an extension. I did 70 pounds of the tricep extension for 6 to 8 reps, and then 55 pounds of my first set of dumbbell curls for a set of 6, and then I backed it down to 50 pounds for sets of 6 to 8 going out. 5 sets in total, really just trying to get in some heavy, dense arm volume. Then we go into my last day of the week, which was Friday. It's kind of a shoulders and arms day. A lot of hypertrophy work, but there is some strength focus to it. I start off with doing overhead press. I'm not trying to do a push press. I'm trying to be nice and controlled, only working through my shoulders. So I start off with a single at 165 for, like I said, 1 rep. It was pretty intense. I wouldn't say it was a grinder. It was definitely going up, but it was all I could do, which is to be expected in a cut. You're gonna lose strength, especially in like vertical pressing movements. I pair these with pull-ups again, but the pull-up focus is a little bit different. So instead of just trying to get my chin over the bar, I do what's called chest to bars. I'm really trying to focus on getting the top abs to the bar every rep. And so for these, I did 6 to 8 reps. If I was just trying to get my chin to the bar, I could probably get close to 20 reps, maybe even a little over. But like I said, really trying to hammer in, get that sternum to the bar every rep, slowly lower down. It's going to curve you up a little bit. And so at the top of the rep, instead of just coming down here, you're going to be like curved up, and it's just going to annihilate your back. So 4 sets of those, 6 to 8 reps. Start off with 8 reps, best I could get, and then slowly work down until I got to 6 reps. At that point, the sets were over. Form looked good throughout, what I was really focused on. After those, I went into doing JM presses and easy bar curls. If you don't know what a JM press, it's kind of a hybrid between a close grip bench press and a skull crusher. The whole lowering phase of it, which you'll see here, I'm trying to lower it to the upper part of my clavicle, kind of down to my throat area. I'm going to pause there, and I'm trying to keep the elbows nice and tucked in throughout. I want them flared out super wide, and I'm not trying to bring it down to my chest and make it a close grip bench press. And so for these, I do 135 pounds for 3 sets of 10 to 12, just depending on how good I feel, how fresh I am during the movement. And then for the easy bar curls, really trying to hammer in some weight, 45 pounds on both sides, which I got here. Trying to keep as little body English or as much body English out of it as possible. Not trying to be swinging around and like throwing my hips back and forth. Really trying to lock in, do it all with the biceps. So 105 pounds with easy bar curl. I believe I got 8 reps in the first set. It slowly started tapering down from there as I got more fatigue throughout the lift. Moving on, we got Lu raises. They are popularized by Lu Xiaozhang. He's a Chinese weightlifter. These are kind of hypertrophy based. They do hit the shoulder musculature pretty well. But one of the things you're really looking to do is you're trying to work the whole shoulder complex. These are great for shoulder health. My left shoulder feels kind of clicky sometimes, and so doing these first sets usually got a little bit of click to it, and then as I go on through each set, significantly less. Generally the next day, like today, my shoulders feel great. I go lighter weight, higher reps with it, so I did 5 pounds for 4 sets of 20. Like I said, really just trying to focus on the movement, keep it controlled throughout. Going from there, we did a myo rep match set of incline dumbbell curls. I have this shown in the video. Incline curls, super great. They kind of put you into a pre-stretch position. They also take any body English out of it. There's no swinging around if you've got your shoulders locked back to the bench. So what I did with these is I believe I got 18 reps on the first set. Like I said, myo rep match. Every subsequent set, I'm trying to get back to that. I'll take little mini rest in between those bigger sets, and then once I get to 18, a longer rest. As many rests as I need to get another 18, then a longer rest. So I did 4 total myo rep sets of incline dumbbell curls, and then some people call it French press, overhead tricep extension, whatever you want to call it. Do these with a cable as well. Really trying to hide my hand behind my head there. Trying to keep the shoulders locked in nice and tight, elbows locked in nice and tight, keep them pitched forward. So that way I'm driving a lot of that focus into the long head of the tricep. It's most of the mass to your tricep, so really hammering these will make a big difference in the size of your arm. They also feel pretty good on my arms. I do have a little bit of elbow tendonitis. It's feel great for it. Myo rep match on those again. This time I went up to 20 reps, a little bit lighter weight. I believe it's 40 pounds on the cable machine. And then from there, I just did some cable pull or band pull aparts. I have a little 30-pound resistance band that I'm just trying to like really get some blood into my traps, rear delts. I don't do a whole lot of rear delt specific work just because I get tons of work from all the pull-ups and the rowing and other shoulder work that I do. And so it's not a super high priority. That really sums up the week for me. One of the things I'll be looking to do next week is just push up a little bit on all these compound lifts. Bench will go up 5-10 pounds maybe. So this week 255. Next week we'll try to get 260, maybe 265, depending on how well it feels. Same thing with squats and deadlifts. just slowly trying to work back up, accumulate volume, accumulate fatigue, and then push. Eventually, hopefully at the end of the block, we'll push for a new PR. That is some ways off. One of the things you want to focus on is just getting in there and doing the work. Don't try to beat yourself up with compound lifts every week. If your goal is strictly hypertrophy, that's great. You can go in and work till failure all the time. That is one of the best avenues for muscle growth. But if you're looking to add numbers to your compound lifts and to your competition lifts, slow and steady wins the race. You cannot go in and PR every week. You might can when you're fresh and you're new to the game, barely benching a plate or whatever your starting point may be. But long term, it's just not a recipe for success. That all being said, I'd like to ask you to like, comment, subscribe. That'll really help out with the algorithm. I'm looking to continue doing this week to week with my program, and I've got a lot of other video ideas planned for the channel. I'd also like to encourage you to reach out to me if you're looking for personal training of some kind, nutrition advice. I do want to begin helping people, and so I'm going to leave my email in the description below. Just email me whatever you want. Just let me know who you are, what your goal is, and how you want me to help you. You want diet plans, or like you want me to explain dieting to you. You want a workout program, whatever it may be, I can help you with that. And so, as always, see you, YouTube.